Guys, just want to talk a little bit about the latest news. We had an interview today with, I believe his name is Sean from 704 Games. Also, I want to thank Mike, who's kept me up to date with what's going on Twitter, and he did ask Sean about the AI. And he said they did kind of work on it, not too much, but they kind of get polished it a little bit, nothing major. So thanks for keeping me up to date with that. Also, I want to thank Elite Killer for bringing to my attention about Project Cars 2, and they have a feature that is very close to something I've been talking about for a long time. And those of you who've seen videos of mine from the past when I was talking about, even going back to Technics, and I was talking about I would love to see an interactive crew chief, because I think that would be more immersive and it would help guide people through setups and how to come up with your own setup. And most people don't understand how to set up a race car. That's just the truth. Very few people are actually knowledgeable about that. I consider myself someone who knows a lot about cars. I've worked on my cars all my life. I've built cars, okay, muscle cars. I know a lot about mechanics, but even someone like me, that setting up a race car is over my head. So that's something I just can't do. I always end up getting setups from other people. I don't learn much from that. And it takes something out of the experience. So I've talked a lot about it. I'm not going to get any further, too much into it. But it's exciting to see that something I've wanted to see for the longest, it's actually going to be implemented in Project Cars. And, and it's almost like the way I was describing, that you should be able to just answer a few questions and describe what the car is doing. And then the engine, well, it's the engineer, not the crew chief in Project Cars. But he'll make a couple of different suggestions on what you can do to improve the car or remedy the problem. And the video that was linked to me by Elite Killer, thank you very much. Go watch it, man. It's awesome. It's like, this is what I wanted to see in a NASCAR game for a long time. But I'm not giving up on that. The same way I've been beating to death the issue about statistics, I'm gonna do it with these other ideas. So I want to make sure that these ideas do get to 704 Games at some point, or whoever makes NASCAR games in the future, because I think that's something that would truly elevate these games to another level and create some excitement and make things like practice time interesting. Right now, it's a hit and miss exercise. It's no fun, and the average gamer doesn't know what they're doing. These setups are above people's heads. And also, it would be immersive to have like a crew chief guide you through your career and help you and interact with you. This is the type of thing that you see in other games like the NBA 2K series. You have teammates that are part of your career, and you're always interacting with them, and coaches, and they guide you along, and they give you advice on how to make yourself a better player. So when you're in practice or you're working out, you know what to do. And it's immersive. It makes those aspects of the game more fun. That's what's missing with NASCAR games, that it's always been about race day, right? And we know that these sports are more than just about the initial race, right? There's practice, there's what's going on back at the shop, sponsorship deals, building these cars to compete, and coming up with setups. That's all part of the sport. And I think they need to branch out and focus on those areas and tie everything together. So that's enough about that. I'm just excited to see that an idea that I've been talking about and nobody else. I've been talking about this. I've never seen anyone else talk about that stuff. So I'm excited. It's like, cool, somebody is doing something I've wanted to see. obviously, I'm not saying Project Cars, these guys, Slightly Mad Studios, I'm not saying they saw my video and said, let's do that. But it's an idea that I never seen anyone talk about, and I always thought it would make the game better, right? And it's happening in Project Cars. Go check out the video. Thanks, Elite Killer, for sending me that link. And it's exciting. You know, it's like, I can't wait to see how that works out. So I'm going to get that game, and it's going to be interesting to see. I like the way the video, it shows it almost like the way I was describing. You're answering questions, and you have complaints, and then the engineer is like making suggestions, and he makes the changes for you. You know, you click and whatever. But that's enough about that. I'll definitely talk more about that in the future when it comes time to talk about the things that we want to see in the next game, right? So enough about that. Let's get to today's interview that was released. And it turned out, I think the guy's name is Sean, and I think he's part of the marketing department. I don't know if he's the head guy, whatever the case is. I might be wrong. I thought I heard him say that, but I've been bashing these guys about their marketing, and he might be one of the guys that I was talking about what a terrible job the marketing's doing, and how they really need to fire the guy. I think I said that once. So I gotta say, it was a pleasant surprise hearing him talk in the interview. I heard a lot of things that I wanted to hear, right? So I get it. It's part of marketing. These developers, they always do this during these interviews. They hype their game up, and that's their job. They want to get you excited. So you got to keep that in mind. And just because, they bring your enthusiasm up to an 11 doesn't mean the game is everything they say it is, right? It's part of marketing, and it's just the way it is. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, you know what? We were working on this and it still sucks. He's not going to say that. But that being said, I'm hearing things I want to hear. So the hype train continues charging forward, and I'm on board, man. I can't help it. So I'm doing everything within my power to remain realistic and critical. But if you're really a fan of NASCAR, and you've been buying these games for as long as I have, I can't believe you would not feel some excitement, right? They're checking off so many things, like I said in my previous video. It's really amazing when you take into account every single thing that they said they're adding, or changing, or working on. It's a big list. So I do appreciate that. So let's get into some of the things that I really focused on, right? Now, something I've been saying is that I haven't heard them talk about the AI. Have they worked on it? And the caution system and this stuff? Now, as I said earlier, Mike, who's always in the comment section, and I appreciate, he's always going back and forth on Twitter and stuff. And the rest of you guys that do that, I appreciate it. Because I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Facebook, and guess what? I'm not going to be, right? I don't do social media. I'm not one of these guys. I have a pet peeve with people that just spend all day on social media. I'm a bit older, so I'm a little old school, and I just think people are a little too, they live in a bubble, and I don't think that's a good thing in society. I think, I don't want to get too far off what I'm supposed to be talking about, but in either case, the bottom line is I don't spend all that much time on social media. I do spend time on YouTube, and I like YouTube and checking videos out and stuff like that, and this is my only way of communicating with people. But I cannot do the Facebook, the Twitter, even my friends, they're all on Facebook, and they're like, oh, why don't you get on Facebook and you could keep up to date with everything that's going on? I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So I'm not going to do it for this. I appreciate you guys for, I know all of you guys do that, and you could keep me up to date and also forward the things that I need forwarded, right? Besides the videos, just the things I'm talking about. It's important that everyone right? It's not enough for one person to forward something or to say something I'm saying. The more people that collaborate and send the message, it gets their attention. And that came through in this interview. He said it. He said they really pay attention to social media. They've been aware of all the criticism, right? And let me tell you something. To his credit, and this is what I've been telling you guys who keep telling people to stop complaining. These people, they're not going to just stop making games and cry and take the ball and go home. They're business people. They realize that their consumer base that's complaining to them and criticizing their product is doing it because we need better. And a smart businessman looks at that, doesn't take it personal, doesn't go cry in the corner, doesn't complain, doesn't deny, but he says, okay, we got to do something, right? And they came out this year and they've added a lot of stuff, right? The final product still, remains to be seen, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Everything I'm hearing. Look at they added all 3 series. They finally, they added these extra tracks. And he said it even here, right? So besides Sean Wilson, who tweeted back to Mike, and then Mike put it in the comment section, thank you. Yes, they did work on the AI. He said they kind of polished it a bit, nothing big. But in this interview, this guy, Sean, I believe that's what he said. I got a bad memory, so forgive me if I got his name wrong. But he said it. He said, yeah, we did work on the AI. The only thing, he did focus more on restrictor plate racing, right? The bump, the passing, the drafting and stuff. I'm not a fan of restrictor plate racing, and restrictor plate racing only makes up a very small portion of all the tracks and all the types of racing in NASCAR. So that's one of the things I hated about Eutechnics. It seemed like they focused all of their effort on restrictor plate racing, and then the other tracks almost felt like they were designed with that kind of thought, that even the AI and the physics and everything was almost like a mini restrictor plate race at other tracks. I hated that. So I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I would assume if he said they worked on that stuff, then obviously I think hopefully we'll see a big difference with the AI. I'm not expecting a massive difference, but I do appreciate that he talked about it. He said it. They kind of worked on it. And that's what I wanted to hear. And, that's just another thing that I'm like, getting excited about. So, and he talked about the other thing is the paint booth and stuff. We're not getting a paint booth. We all know that. But he clearly said it. There's something they're working on, and it's going to come in the future. And what I do appreciate is that they are giving us a way to have some customization, right? It's nothing compared to a paint booth, but he says you're going to have some sponsorships and liveries that you can put on the car. You can change the color of the car, pre-rendered templates, right? But you know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like the early EA Thunder games, right? We didn't really have a paint booth then either. And what they gave us was templates, right? And you had a bunch of sponsors and a lot of fake sponsorships. I kind of like the fake sponsorships. I wouldn't mind them adding that in the game. I don't know how NASCAR feels about it. And something tells me they don't want that. The type of things that they could get away with years ago, I don't know. I just think, I'm guessing, they would probably have a problem with it. But I thought it was cool. I remember that stuff. But anyway, that's how the template system, it sounds like it's similar to that. I got no problem with that. So even though we're not getting the paint booth, and I've been disappointed about it, and I'll reiterate, I'm going to keep pushing for that for the future, right? But he said it. He said, yeah, they're aware. People want that customization, and they're going to work on that, and it's something in the future, right? But the template system, it's appreciated. They gave us something. They could have just gave us another year of, well, we're not ready for the paint booth yet. We're going to do it in the future. And, I'm sorry, but look at all this other stuff we're doing. They could have done that. and they still gave us something, right? I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm guessing it sounds a lot like the old EA games, and that's fine by me. I think that's a great compromise, right? So overall, I love everything that he was talking about. He wasn't defensive, you know, and he was very. The thing that I'm really excited about is that yes, you know, they're telling you, man, we follow social media. We're aware of people doing reviews on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's not a waste of time, guys. You know, as long as it's constructive and it's persistent, right? Don't just assume because you said something to them once that it's going to be remembered or even considered. But if you keep hammering away, they're going to say, you know what, we better give these people their fucking paint booth because I'm tired of getting complaints about it, right? So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But it works, right? So I'm feeling excited once again. So what did you guys think of this interview? If you saw it, if not, go check it out. I like what I'm hearing, you know. Yeah, you could take it with a grain of salt. That's just the way they you know, this is an interview, a developer diary, whatever you want to call it. And we see this with every developer of every game. They come on and they hype up their game. But I'm not so much focused on, you know, the hype part of it. And in all honesty, he didn't come out at any point and say, yeah, this is going to be so great and amazing. But he said, hey, yeah, we worked on this. We worked on the AI. We're hearing what's going on social media. And that, for me, is what's most important. And that's what I want to know. I want to know they acknowledge what's going on in the community, their consumer base, right? One other thing that, yeah, that I've always talked about, and I still feel this way, this thing where they want to try to appease, you know, like he said, the 8-year-old who jumps into the game and the 20-year-old who's more hardcore. And I've always said, you know, I don't know if that's a winning formula. I don't know how good a game can be when you're trying, because it's a wide spectrum, right? Between people that are just so casual and just you want to be able to pick up the game. But he did explain that they're going to give us more options in terms of setups, right? So I do like that they didn't just leave the way the setups are. He said we're going to get more than one option, right? So you'll have 2 base setups. One that's kind of on the loose side, one that's kind of on the tight side, and then you could play with either one. Whichever one gives you a better base for you, for your driving style, now you can tinker with it, right? So I think that's a really great idea, and it's the next best thing to what I really want, which is a more interactive experience where you have like an interactive crew chief that follows you throughout your career and it helps you come up with your own setup and makes decisions for you based on information and back and forth. And I think that would make the career mode more immersive, right? But we're not getting that, obviously. But this is good. This is another good step forward, right? So when you look at the missteps and you look at all the positives, you know, it's hard not to get excited. So I'm looking forward to what else is coming. And he said that there's a lot in the career mode that they stuffed in there. He did say you're not going to be able to do burnouts, so it is what it is, right? But he said they're looking at it, but he doesn't want to promise anything. I would lean towards, you know, it's not going to happen, right? He says that as the game is built as of right now, when you finish the race, if you win, it goes right into a cutscene in the victory lane. So yeah, it's going to be generic. It's not going to be something, you know, that's going to blow anyone away, but it's better than nothing. And so it's another step in the right direction. And we can tell them, hey, you know, here's what you need to do next. I got a lot of ideas. I think you guys are going to be excited when you see, because when I finally do a video that's strictly focused on a winning formula of what you need in this game to elevate it to even the next level, I think you guys will like the ideas. A lot of the ideas, I'm not going to lie, they're ideas I've had all along and I've been talking about. But that's what I do. I kept hammering away at the stats, and I think you guys are really gonna be appreciative of what the stats are gonna bring to the game. I mean, I can't believe that we went this long, this many games without stats. So, I beat that, and I beat that, and I beat that. I didn't see too many people talking about that, but we're finally getting it. And that's the way I'm going to attack all these other things, right? So, there's a lot to be excited about. And, and like I was saying about the career mode, he said that there's a lot of stuff he can't talk about yet. But that I like the focus, that the game is really focused on this stuff. So, there's just a lot. I'm not going to hit everything right now, but I like the interview. I finally heard some things that I wanted to hear. And these guys, they're really picking things up. And when you look at everything, like I said, they've done a lot. They put in a lot of work since last year. So, what do you guys think? I look forward to your comments. And, let's keep this ball rolling. I appreciate all of you guys that post links in the comments and you go and you communicate with these guys and you let me know what's going on. And we got to keep things going in this direction, because at the end of the day, we are going to get better games. It's going to happen. And these guys seem like they're sincere and they're trying. Okay, so I like that. That goes a long way with me. You Technics didn't seem like they gave a shit. They just gave lip service. So, I like that, and I look forward to what's next. So, I look forward to your comments, and so there's something more to talk about. I'll see you guys around.